story begins in a time of war. The Israelites find themselves in battle against the Philistines and suffer a devastating defeat. In their desperation, they make a drastic decision. They bring out their most sacred artifact, the Ark of the Covenant, believing this will secure them victory. Yet this is where they falter, treating the Ark as a mere lucky charm rather than a divine presence, thus reflecting a deep-seated crisis of faith. The battlefield becomes a stage for tragedy as Israel is crushed again. In the chaos, the Ark is seized by the Philistines, marking a severe blow to the Israelites' morale and identity. Meanwhile, the sons of Eli, the priest, Hophni, and Phinehas, lose their lives, a consequence of their own corrupt ways, as they fall in the combat line. Far from the battlefield, when Eli, the aging priest leading Israel, hears the distressing news of the Ark's capture and the death of his sons, he collapses backward, breaking his neck and dying instantly. In one sweeping moment, Israel loses its spiritual guide, unearthing deeper themes of misplaced faith and the high costs of corruption among their leaders. Join us as we unravel the lessons from this story that still resonate today. Chaos has descended on Israel. A devastating battle has left the people in turmoil. Phinehas's wife is on the brink of giving birth amid this tumultuous situation. Sadly, as she delivers her son, her heart is weighed down by the grief of the nation's loss. She names him Ichabod, which means the glory has departed from Israel. This naming is more than just words. It signifies a nation stripped of its identity and divine presence. But why is this so significant? Well, the glory of God, once revered and felt within the heart of Israel, marked its spiritual identity. However, the land now mourns, not only for fallen soldiers, but for the perceived absence of God's guiding light and power. Ichabod becomes a living symbol of a period plagued by doubt and spiritual emptiness, the weight of God's glory and what happens when it's missing. It's a lesson on how national identity can heavily be intertwined with spiritual belief. For Israel, the Ark of the Covenant not only housed holy relics, but embodied their relationship with God. Its loss signified more than a physical displacement. It resonated deeply within the cultural and spiritual consciousness of the people. Want to know what becomes of Israel afterwards? The Ark of the Covenant, now captured by the Philistines, is placed in the temple of their God, and soon becomes the center of mysterious events. On the first night, something strange happened. The mighty statue of Dagon fell face down before the Ark. Shocked by what happened, the Philistines set it back up, attributing it to a mere accident. But the next day, Dagon was found on the ground again, this time with its head and hands broken off. It was as if Dagon had surrendered before the power of the Ark. Realizing the seriousness and power housed within the Ark, the Philistines decided to move it away from Ashdod. As the Ark traveled from city to city, from Ashdod to Gath to Ekron, each location broke out in plagues, tumors and panic spread, witnessing the judgment of a divine force far superior to any of their idols. Each afflicted city quickly passed the Ark, lifting it off their hands. Finally, the Philistines came to a daunting realization: the Ark was too dangerous to keep. It was a clear message. God's supremacy over idols was unquestionable, and his divine judgment was powerful enough to affect entire nations, piercing through ignorance and disbelief. Through this fascinating story, we see a timeless theme unfold: the supremacy of divine power and the consequences of undermining it. Imagine a scene filled with awe and fear. The Philistines, terrified by the plagues, decide it's time to send the Ark back to Israel. They place it on a new cart, pulled by 2 cows, setting it on a path towards Beth Shemesh, but they don't send it alone. They include a guilt offering of golden tumors and rats, symbols of their suffering, hoping to appease God. The Ark makes its way to Beth Shemesh, and the townspeople are overjoyed at its return. But this joy quickly turns to tragedy. In their excitement, they fail to show the proper reverence for the Ark. Some look inside, an act of great disrespect. This breach of holiness results in God striking down many. This incident draws us to the theme of God's holiness and the need to handle even blessings with reverence. The Ark wasn't just a mere object, it was a symbol of God's presence. Through this story, we're reminded that reverence and respect for the divine go hand in hand with receiving God's blessings. The Israelites begin their journey to repentance, restoration, and recognizing God's unwavering support. Samuel speaks to the people, "People of Israel, turn your hearts to the Lord. It's time for fasting and prayer. Let us seek His forgiveness and guidance." So the Israelites begin their fasting and praying earnestly, a communal effort to please God. Under Samuel's guidance, the nation repents. Their deep regret and collective prayers lay the groundwork for their redemption. The Philistines make another attempt to attack the Israelites once more. The air is thick with anticipation, but the Israelites hold on to faith, crying out to the Lord. Then, in a display of divine power, God thunders from the heavens. The enemy scatters, granting Israel an unexpected victory. Samuel, lifting a stone, placing it as a monument, says, "Here marks our Ebenezer stone. Thus far the Lord has helped us." A testament to God's faithfulness, let us never forget His mighty acts. The people rejoice, not just for victory over their foes, but in the renewed promise of divine support and collaboration. Remember, each step is an Ebenezer moment, an opportunity to recall how far you've come with help from above. We hope you continue to explore more stories of faith and the remarkable ways God moves amongst His people. Remain blessed.